Good evening, welcome to Riverhead School Board meeting, Tuesday, January 10th, 2023. I'm Lori Dans, Vice President. Brian Conley will not be here tonight, he's President. He's at work, so you got me. We'll come out of executive session. Can I have a motion? Thank you, Colin. Can I have a second? Thank you. Thank you, Therese. All in favor? Motion passes. We're going to stand for the pledge now. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Others? Ready? Drop. Ace. Ace. Oh, Arch.
Okay, so now we're going to move on to public comments on agenda items. Is anybody, Ms. Lisa, anybody online? Okay, so then we're going to move on to superintendent's report. Dr. Tornatore?
Thank you, Ms. Downs. We're going to begin this evening by going over our Blue Waves recognition and appreciation. So I'm going to turn that over to Dr. Kerner and Mr. Rukowski.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Ms. Dukowski and I would like to wish the members of the Board of Education a Happy New Year, and certainly to the members of our school community as well. We are pleased to share with you tonight the winners of our most recent Blue Waves Recognition and Appreciation Program. We'll start off the evening with Mr. Sean O'Hara. Okay, Mr. O'Hara is currently in his 24th year of education with the Riverhead Central School District. Prior to his role as the very proud principal of Riverhead High School, he served the Riverhead Central School District as a music teacher, director of fine arts, and high school assistant principal. Mr. O'Hara holds a Bachelor's of Arts degree in music education, from Wagner College, a master's degree in music from Five Towns, and a professional certificate in educational leadership from the State University of New York at Stony Brook. So, Sean, your colleagues are saying about you that you took the helm and navigated through very turbulent times over several years at Riverhead High School. You are a forward-thinking leader, and you have supported our new program, the Freshman Seminar, that is a community-building program. Mr. O'Hara's colleagues say that he is working diligently to implement other new programs to help increase the graduation rate at Riverhead High School. So congratulations, Sean. We're really proud of you. Very happy for you. So you're going to wait over there, and then we're going to step outside and take a photo. Just so that the superintendent knows, we have been asked to have our winners stand on the side and then step out in the lobby for a photo so that it's more clear than in the past. Okay. Our next Blue Waves winner is Dr. Ashley Gabrielle. Okay, Dr. Gabrielle joined the mental health team at Riverhead Middle School last April, so she's new to our team, and we're so happy to have her. Dr. Gabrielle has been working as a psychologist for the district for less than a year, and in this short time, Dr. Gabrielle has found great joy in her service to Riverhead students and staff. Ashley has been working as a psychologist for 3 years and has a bachelor's degree in psychology and human services and a master's degree and a doctoral degree in psychology. So this is what your colleagues are saying about you, Ashley. Dr. Gabrielle started here late last year and has been an asset to our building. Not only is she a school psychologist, she assists with crises, counseling, communicating with staff, parents, and meetings. Dr. Gabrielle deserves to be recognized because she is so greatly appreciated here at Riverhead Middle School. So congratulations to you. We're so happy to have you. Thank you so much. So you're going to wait over there, yep. So I'm going to pass the microphone to Mr. Kalski.
Good evening. Okay, our next recipient is Anna Cavagaro from our Teaching Assistance Unit. She's worked for the district for 26 years, 4 years as an aide at Riley, and the last 22 years at the high school as a teaching assistant. She has 2 children who attended and graduated from the Riverhead School District in 2006 and 2007, and it brings her great joy watching the students that she has helped through the years succeed and grow. Okay, and Anna's colleagues said that she is always helping others and asking how their day has been, and she is frequently smiling and brightening others' days. I guess she's not here. Okay. And then our next recipient is here, and she is from our Transportation Department, Linda Jean Toner. Okay. So Linda Jean started her career as a school bus driver in 2012 with encouragement from her family. She enjoys meeting the students, their families, and the school staff each day. She is currently in her first year with the Riverhead School District as a school bus driver coordinator and looks forward to many more years with the transportation employees, school staff, and administration. And Linda Jean, your colleague said, let me see if I can read that. Okay, you're new to the department and you're absolutely great, learn things fast, and have a handle on things in this hard-working department. You work hard, long hours, and you are kind and friendly. Congratulations. And our last recipient, I'm not sure if she is here, I didn't see, Ingrid Costello? Irma. Yeah, Irma, is Irma here? Oh, confused with somebody? Oh, okay. Come on in. Okay. How are you? I thought it was Ingrid, sorry. So Irma would like to thank the school district for nominating her for this award. She has been working with the developmentally disabled for almost 5 years now. She's been with the district for a little more than a year. She has a passion to help others and help others succeed. I am grateful to be a part of the Riverhead School District. And your colleague said that you're nominated for the award because you have a strong work ethic and you care about the students. You always ask questions to elevate your knowledge and skills. And you're a positive attitude, you're awesome, and you have fresh, new ideas, and you're not afraid to work hard. Irma, thank you. Oh, no, you don't be here for the award.
Thank you.
So everyone can step outside, take a quick photo with Dr.
Okay. Okay, so if you all would like to go into the lobby and have your picture taken with the superintendent.
And we thank everyone for their continued support of our program, Nominate Today. Congratulations, everyone.
You can step out here, too, okay.
I'll be right back in a second. Yes, Dr. Taylor, waiting for you.
Well, I certainly got my exercise for the day. So- Okay, moving on, in addition to congratulating our recipients, moving on, I'd like to pass it on to Dr. Galati as we discuss the middle and high school.
Good evening and Happy New Year. Thank you, Dr. Tornatore. Appreciation is given to the Riverhead Central School District, Board of Education, and to Dr. Tornatore, Superintendent of Schools, in providing Mr. O'Hara, High School Principal, Dr. Joseph Pesquera, Middle School Principal, Mr. Gassar, Director of Guidance, Ms. Campbell, Director of STEM, Dr. Casamassa, Director of Humanities, Mr. Rockcamp, Director of Fine Arts, and Ms. Philcox, High School English Teacher, with the opportunity to share with us tonight and our community a presentation on the middle school program of study and new, modified, and deleted courses of study at the high school for the 2023-2024 school year. Our first presentation this evening will be on the middle school program of study. This is a new document and resource guide for our middle school families and staff. The purpose of this document is to best guide students, families, and stakeholders in making important course selections for students by providing a detailed description of courses and related expectations, along with meaningful opportunities made available to our students at Riverhead Middle School to support the whole child. This document will serve as a meaningful and relevant reference to best prepare and support students as they prepare for the high school experience. The second presentation will provide you with the justification and rationale for the modification and deletion of existing courses of study at the high school and an explanation of proposed new courses of study to best support, challenge, and inspire students as learners. It is our goal to offer relevant and meaningful courses that will enhance students' skills in critical thinking, creativity, problem solving, collaboration, appreciation for the local landscape and community, career opportunities, and real-world exploration. It is through these courses that our students will be empowered and will be best prepared to meet the demands of the 21st century and beyond. As you will see, both presentations align with our district mission and vision statements and support our district strategic plan, Strive and 5. At this time, I wish to introduce Dr. Joseph Pesquera, who will take you through a brief presentation of the middle school program of study.
Thank you, Dr. Galati. Good evening. I'd like to begin by thanking Dr. Tornatore and the entire district cabinet for providing me with the opportunity to present this exciting information tonight. I'd also like to thank the entire Board of Education for their continued support of Riverhead Middle School. We are excited about the changes that are taking place at Riverhead Middle School, and we know your support is what has helped make all of that possible. Got to look happy with the clicker there. I will try my best to be concise while still sharing with you the massive amount of information regarding the program of study. Tonight, we will discuss the program of study and the reason for it, the process for the development of it, the role of the academic committee, and the exploration of an academic wheel and 7th grade advisory for the 2023-2024 school year. I like to think the program of study at the middle school is much like a roadmap to help students navigate their time here at Riverhead Middle School. The program of study will help students and their families understand the role of the guidance counselor, provide course descriptions, make them aware of opportunities to play interscholastic sports, and to join extracurricular clubs, and to provide contact information for building level and district level administrators. It is through this program of study that the students and their families can gain a better understanding of the courses offered at Riverhead Middle School and which course levels or opportunities might best suit their needs and their interests. I'd like to take a moment to thank those who helped to make this program of study possible. Through close collaboration and multiple meetings with Dr. Galati, Mr. Gassar, Dr. Casamassa, Ms. Campbell, and Mr. Rockcamp, we were able to develop a program of study that reflects all that Riverhead Middle School has to offer. Their help in providing information from each of their departments was invaluable to the outcome of this document. As we continue to work towards crafting a middle school experience with more varied opportunities for students, one thing that the team has developed this year is the Riverhead Middle School Academic Committee. The Academic Committee, which is composed of teachers and administrators, meets monthly to discuss a variety of academic issues, including testing, grading, and course offerings. This fall, all of the teachers were given the opportunity to propose potential new courses. From those proposals, the committee convened to discuss which would be best for our 7th and 8th grade students and their middle school experience. Their help has been greatly appreciated as we look to swap some of our courses in the hopes of introducing some more engaging and exciting courses for our students. During the academic committee meetings, the idea of implementing a wheel has come up numerous times. An elective wheel at the middle school would allow students to get 10-week experiences with 4 different electives throughout the year. While logistics for a wheel complicate things a little, we are trying to find a way to make this possible so that we can provide our students with the opportunity for a larger breadth of exploratory courses prior to high school. Along the same lines, the academic committee believes that it would be beneficial to add an advisory course for all incoming 7th graders. Ideally, we would like to offer the course in 7th grade with a period where deeper relationships can be established with an adult role model in a small class setting. Within the advisory period, students will be supported with social and emotional skills, as well as study skills, time management, organizational skills, communication skills, and more to prepare students to become successful in middle school and will lead to a better high school experience. Over the next couple of months, we look forward to working with the Riverhead Middle School team to expand opportunities for our students, but more importantly, to create a method to communicate everything available to our student body. The development of this program of study, which will be live on the Riverhead Middle School website this week, is something which will provide transparency to our families about their child's experiences at Riverhead Middle School. Thank you again for your time and for allowing me to present here tonight. If any board members have questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Thank you.
Any questions? Go right ahead. No, it's new.
I'm excited for what you guys are doing, so thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
And are the electives in this program of study, or you haven't?
So we're still working on finalizing them, and that's a live document, so every time we update it, we'll update it on the website.
Okay, I love that piece also, and modeling something on the freshman seminar. I
Yeah.
think that's great, because.
Yeah, it's been a success here, we've heard, so we wanted to do something to support our 7th graders, absolutely. Thank you.
Would the 7th grade course that you're considering, would it be, considered like, a full period? Because, I mean, my mind immediately goes to, going back to kind of like an old-fashioned homeroom, and the homeroom being more of a focus,
Yeah.
like not just being that's where everyone meets together, but that being kind of like, like your homeroom teacher being your 7th grade advisory teacher. I don't know if that's something.
So I think, homeroom this is more of something with a real substance, and there would be a real curriculum to really work on. So, homeroom was a lot of, handing out papers and, quick check-ins, but we're looking for something with a little bit more substance, so we do think it would be a full period offering. Yeah.
That's great.
Thank you.
So this would be something, I'm dating myself, but back when I was in 7th grade, we had it was called a MASH program, music, art, shop, home ec. And you had to take all 4 of them
Yeah.
in your 7th grade year.
Yeah, and that's kind of like what the wheel is allowing for more of those opportunities where it's 10-week courses. Yeah, I've never heard that MASH. I like that.
Anybody else? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was really informative. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Galati.
So at this time, I would like to reintroduce Mr. Sean O'Hara, high school principal.
Good evening, members of our Board of Education, Dr. Tornatore, members of our district office cabinet. We appreciate the opportunity to present this evening. It's an exciting time of year at Riverhead High School with scheduling presentations underway as students prepare to make their course requests for next school year. As early as September of this current school year, our district directors and department liaisons had the opportunity to work with Dr. Galati and faculty members sourcing new course proposals. We currently offer many electives, AP courses, dual-enrolled courses for college credit, and opportunities to attend BOCES, as well as the early college program on the campus of Suffolk County Community College, and we are proud to share this evening for your consideration new course proposals that we plan to add to our program of study. All are in alignment with our Thrive in 5 comprehensive district plan, and we would like to begin with our STEM additions. I'll turn the presentation over to Ms. Janine Campbell.
Thank you, Mr. O'Hara. Good evening. So I will begin with our science department changes. We are deleting our marine biology course and modifying the current marine science description to encompass aspects of what was formerly known as marine biology. Marine science was formerly alternating days or a semester for half a credit. This course will now be a full credit course. It will introduce students to the field of marine biology and physical oceanography as it pertains to living organisms. Okay. We are adding an agricultural science course as a one-year, one-credit course. Students will work on gaining knowledge in a multitude of concepts pertaining to agriculture, real-world problem-solving, and agro-related technologies, and then apply this knowledge through hands-on agricultural experiences right here on premises. We are adding a new course, Applications of Chemistry, as a one-year, one-credit course. Students will take part in hands-on laboratory experiences, demonstrations, internet activities, and modeling while studying a range of topics from atoms and molecules to energy and food chemistry. This course is designed to prepare students for Regents Chemistry the following year. Okay, moving on to the math department. We'll be offering a new AP Pre-Calculus as a one-year, one-credit course with AP weighting attached. This is a brand new course through College Board being implemented for the first time in the 2023-2024 school year. This course will provide students who have successfully completed Algebra 2, who may not be ready for calculus, an opportunity to take an additional math credit and still receive college credit prior to graduating high school. This course will prepare students for calculus should they choose to take it the following year, and the topics included are also required for college calculus courses. We're adding E&L Computer Programming 1 Python as a one-year, one-credit course to support our E&L population in experiencing computer science courses and learning coding skills through Python. This course will be supported with an E&L teacher. We are adding computer game design as a one-year, one-credit course. This course will serve as a connection to our new video game club running up at the high school. This course will have students utilizing Game Maker software, which accommodates the creation of cross-platform and multi-genre video games using visual programming language. Moving on to our technology department. We're modifying the basic electricity course to reflect a prerequisite of course credit in algebra, where none currently exists. The reason being students need to have a basic understanding of mathematical concepts taught in algebra to analyze and manipulate the circuitry components of the course. We are modifying our Intro to Networking and Computer Repair courses to both now provide students with the opportunity to earn a Test Out certificate at course completion. The main purpose of the Test Out PC Pro certification is to verify necessary skills to work as an IT support professional and perform real-world IT tasks. And we are modifying our residential structures course to have students complete an OSHA 10 construction safety course to earn an OSHA 10 certification card upon completion. OSHA 10 courses are created to align with the National Career Clusters framework, integrate with existing CTE curriculum, and focus on the professional soft skills identified by the Department of Education as what employers are expecting before day one. Okay. Any questions? Okay, I will turn it over to Dr. Casamassa, Director of Humanities.
Good evening. I'm going to talk about some of the courses that we're changing. Oops. Why am I not doing this? Oh. Is this like... Oh. Thank you. Oh, here we go. Got it. I think. Sorry. So we're going to be deleting in the English department dramatic literature, journalism, and introduction to theater. All of these are currently elective courses, so those are the courses we will be deleting. Oops. Oh my God. Sorry. This is like... We will be adding public speaking, also will become an elective course. It will it will be a half-credit course occurring on alternate days or all through one semester. We haven't decided that yet. Public speaking is important because it supports students as they pursue their careers and whatever they decide to do in their life, their lives. It enhances critical thinking skills, develops leadership skills, and empowers students to organize and lead events as they learn to advocate for important causes. We are also very excited about adding an additional college course through the Stony Brook ACE program, News Literacy. In this course, students learn to speak up for others. They learn how to define a topic, research it, and analyze it to present information. Many academic skills such as reading, writing, researching, outlining, editing are some of the skills that they will acquire in this course. And now Mrs. Elena Philcox is going to explain the AP capstone course that we're adding.
All right, good evening. Thank you for having us tonight. No, you're fine. Okay. All right. The Advanced AP Diploma and Program is a 2-year course available to our students in 11th and 12th grade. We're really excited about the prospect of offering this program to our high school students. The first year, students would take AP Seminar, and the second year, the students would take AP Research. And the students eligible for this Advanced AP Diploma will take these 2 courses and 4 additional AP exams and receive a 3 or higher. While there's obviously the diploma that you can receive, and that's definitely an incentive, there are also many skills rooted in the curriculum that students would benefit from taking this course in general with or without the advanced diploma. With respect to AP Seminar, the students are assessed 3 times. There are 2 performance tasks. One of them is collaborative, one of them is independent, and then there's your traditional exam at the end of the year. So academically speaking, it's the same amount of work as your traditional AP class. The students would be conducting independent research about complex real-world issues. They would work collaboratively and within teams to synthesize their individual findings and present and defend their research with digital presentations and oral defenses. And the curriculum itself is definitely designed around problem solving, creativity, curiosity, critical thinking, and character education. I'm excited about having the program. The students, I think, would really be excited about having this option of choice within the room because they can investigate the issues that mean the most to them and present their findings through myriad mediums. And that's about it.
I know it's going a little crazy tonight. For the social studies department, we are adding a research methods course, and as Mrs. Philcox was talking about, we're pretty excited because we're really adding a lot of research courses and the opportunity for students to research topics of their choice. We're implementing the Seal of Civic Readiness, where students will be researching a topic of their choice and actually even taking action about what they research. So that is really important too, not only researching, but taking some kind of action either outside in the school or in the community itself. So we're excited. And this course in the Social Studies Department is going to help students prepare for the research that they might do for the Seal of Civic Readiness. But whether or not they do that, it's just really important for students to learn to ask questions, discover how to address these questions, and really, once again, we keep talking about problem-solving skills, critical thinking skills. All of these courses really help students develop those skills. And now Mr. Jason Rodkamp is going to talk about the Fine Arts Department.
Hello, everybody. Nice to see you this evening. The Fine Arts Department of Riverhead High School is excited to share some new course proposals for your consideration. The first one you see up there is Advanced Guitar. This is a class that will be a continuation of the current beginning guitar class. Students who successfully complete beginning guitar or a successful audition with the instructor will be able to take this class. During the duration of this class, the students are supplied with electric guitars and amps to use during the day. Okay, the next one, theater production and performance, or theater performance and production. You may have noticed earlier there was an intro to theater class that was being deleted. This was a literature-based class. This newly proposed class is a performance-based class that will address stage performance, the pit, stage crew, lighting, everything that encompasses putting together a full theatrical production. And finally, the last one, portfolio development for art and technology. This class is being designed for juniors who are considering AP Studio Art during their senior year. This course will serve as a bridge to AP Studio Art and also provide an opportunity for technology students to prepare for and take AP Studio Art and its exam. As you can see, the prerequisites are a lot of the 10th grade courses, drawing and painting, computer graphics, engineering, robotics, so it would be a nice bridge and pathway for kids to get to their senior year. So, okay. Any questions? No? Thank you.
Board, do you have any questions? Mr. Torn? I just want to say that thank you. It was a great presentation. I love the direction that we're going in, but I'd like to know why journalism is gone. Journalism, that is something I know a lot of kids are into. They've always been.
And I understand that. The news literacy is a journalism course, but now it's a college-bearing course. So it's a similar course, and now students will be able to learn those same skills, but receive college credit for it. So.
Okay. All right, thank you. Mr. Torr?
All right, I don't know if this is the right place to take it in, but all the important people are here, so I'm going to put it in. I was disappointed to see the faculty has decided to stay with a 20% weighting on Regent scores. I don't think this is fair to weight a 3-hour exam the same as 10 weeks of instruction. Also, that the state highly recommends that it's not used in a grading policy. And the fact that it's a scale score. It's not a 0 to 100 percentage, the same as other tests. Physics is extremely scaled, and some of the other exams are also. We would never consider taking a 3 to 8 ELA test with a score of 475 and put it into a student's average, because it's a scale score. But we do put a scaled Regent score, even though that an 85 is not 85% of the material, into a student's average, and then weight it 20% of their final grade. I asked for rationale on this, and I was told that it was to keep the students interested in the classes, that they wouldn't take them seriously. these exams are required to graduate. They're going to take them seriously or they're not going to graduate. Waiting, I work with a bunch of schools across Long Island, and for the last month, all I've been doing is changing the percentage of Regent scores for schools across Long Island, either lowering them or taking them out completely. I'd like some other rationale of why we're keeping this.
So, Mr. Dorr, I know that there was many conversations between the administrators and staff members regarding the current status in our district. I think the most prudent way to move forward is to form a committee who could really explore and look further into it, because I would be remiss if we made a decision right away without really looking at the ramifications into that. So Dr. Glady and I have had conversations, and that was really going to be the next step that we were going to look into regarding this topic.
Okay, I just, personally, why this is a big deal to me, and I know I was chastised once for being a father up here also, and not just a board member, but my oldest daughter was a Division I college lacrosse player. And the NCAA, as listed in this document, has a different GPA scale than we do. 80 to 89 is a 3, 90 to 100 is a 4, 70 to 79. There is no C plus or B plus. So if a student does bad on that one exam, it can lower her GPA or that grade in that course, where scholarships may be in danger if they don't have the high enough NCAA. So a 3-hour exam can really affect a student from either pass, not even if they pass, it can still affect their ability to play NCAA sports. So I think it really needs to be considered when thinking about this.
I certainly understand. You are bringing up very good points. But again, it is a process, and I really think that it's best that we form the committee and that they are able to do a thorough review of what the ramifications would be if it were changed and what it would be if we kept it the way it is. And then we would be able to make a decision based upon that.
I'd like to chime in. So you need to have the data and the research, and I know that it's out there for other districts that don't wait or they've changed their percentile. New York City doesn't even include it at all. And nothing, either it stays the same or it has improved. And I know that we have our own data in-house because last year we did do no harm and our mastery rate went up, and where we only, especially with your ELA and I think it was in the history, didn't take a nosedive. But like I explained before, definitely with algebra, I mean, we know across the country that students suffered, especially during COVID, learning loss, remote learning. Science and math were very teacher dependent. So especially going into, we're dealing with a NICED, still has a special appeal. They didn't rescind it for this year. There must be a reason. And they do have a reason. They know that the kids have suffered. So, and they sent out in that memo, and they included again a reminder that they don't recommend that regents are included in the final weighting. So, you know, the only thing that I was just suggesting is at least to take a look for our students' equity reasons. It's definitely with the algebra or the geometry, lower it maybe to 12%. If you want to leave the other regions at 20%, if that's, because it sounds like they're, you know, doing fine with it, or to take a look at the, you know, the scaling. But definitely, let's take a look at the math.
Again, to be able to make a informed decision would require time to look at all of that data, sift through it, and for a committee to be able to provide a recommendation
So
for a
when you,
course path forward.
when we asked, when it was brought up, and who was on, you said that you sent it to administration, so there was an opportunity. So was there a committee, or is it just, it was sent just to the principals?
Dr. Torrentine, I would like to suggest that we put together a committee and Dr. Galati to be the head of it to figure out who's on it.
That certainly would be what the course of action that I would like to take, so that Dr. Galati would work with the team to be able to present to me,
To the
the superintendent, and then to the board, so that the board could make a decision moving forward regarding.
But you have
the-
January regents coming up, that's all. There just was a time constraint, so if you're going to be doing status quo, I'm just saying that we're dealing still with the
I
aftermath.
can't hear you.
I'm sorry, I'm just saying that we have January regents coming up, so whatever we do, I know, but we had asked for a committee for the January, for this was.
Pretty much 10 years.
There was a committee on that prior, correct?
Yes, and that's where we were able to get a do no harm for special ed and ELL.
Right. Okay. Anything else?
Okay, so we have a few more items. Mr. Okowski, if you could come up back to the podium. So we, before we get into our transportation study presentation, there's something that Mr. Okowski would like to share.
Good evening. Okay, we'd like to recognize two of our school bus drivers. During a morning run on December 14th, one of our buses broke down on Griffin Avenue and the railroad, dangerously close to the railroad tracks. The driver contacted the transportation office over the radio. Upon hearing the call, two of our other school bus drivers took action and reported to the scene. Lashina Harris was the first to arrive. She evacuated the students off of the bus and transported them to their school building. And Richard Lindor, he showed up, he assisted the MTA Police Department and Riverhead Police Department with pushing the school bus back away from the tracks. Both of these employees both went above and beyond. They truly exemplified putting the safety and needs of our students first. They were proactive in a potentially dangerous situation for our students, and we want to thank them. Lashina and Richard, come on up.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
We certainly want to thank you both again for going above and beyond and for always putting our students first, so we truly appreciate that. The next item we have is the transportation study information. So I'm going to pass that on to Dr. Asay.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight we have Micah Brasfield from Transport Group to present our transportation efficiency study. And she is willing, after her presentation, to answer any question that the Board of Education may have.
Good evening, board members, Dr. Torrentine. Thank you for having me this evening. It's a privilege to actually be able to present after the recognition of the transportation employees, because one of the things that I noticed in our time on site was just how dedicated this team is. The drivers and monitors, mechanics, operations staff, Miss Linda Jean, who was honored early, worked tirelessly every day to serve all students of Riverhead schools and non-public schools, and it's a testament to the work that they do under challenging conditions. I want to share that we had an opportunity last night to meet with the audit committee in which we went through this presentation in greater detail, and that's not the goal tonight. Tonight, this is a rather extensive presentation in which we collected a large amount of data and did a large amount of analysis to try to put forth some recommendations with regards to how best to address some of the challenges that the transportation department has been facing. And so I will briefly summarize some of that information. As far as the agenda, I will really only focus on the project scope, executive summary, summarizing some of the system constraints, explaining the route yield process, which is the time and capacity utilization analysis that our team conducted, and then talking about next steps and recommendations. Transport was engaged at this stage to complete 2 different studies for the district, one of which was the route efficiency presentation that you're seeing this evening, the other which will be an EV electric vehicle feasibility study. The work that we've done for the route efficiency portion of the project has been completed, which again is the culmination of this presentation that you're seeing this evening. The EV feasibility study will begin as we complete next steps for working collaboratively with the district and NYSERDA to complete an application for Clean Schools Initiative grant that would fund the EV feasibility portion of the project. It's important that you complete a route efficiency study prior to going into an EV feasibility study, because you want to ensure that you're as efficient as you can be in current state before making the investment in purchasing electric vehicles and infrastructure. You do not want to make a larger investment than is required, and so it's important to do the route efficiency study first, which is what we've done. At a high level, I want to share that Transport has been doing work like this with school districts for over 27 years. We partner to provide both consulting and advisory services as well as management services, and our work aligns with the mission of many school districts, which is to try to ensure equitable access to education through responsible student transportation solutions. And I want to start by hitting on the question at the bottom of this slide: why are we here? Whether perceived or real, the district and community has expressed challenges and frustrations with the level of transportation service that's been provided. And I think that it's important to note that student transportation operations are required to support the entire district. And in this region of the country, you're also required to provide services not just to students attending your public schools, but to non-public students as well. And in order for transportation to be able to provide that at a high level, we have to understand that they are an operation that's constrained by the resources, time, capacity that they have available. Oftentimes there's a misconception that transportation wants to say no to everything, that they can't do everything. And it's because they are constrained by a finite number of resources and the need to serve all schools within the district as well as those that are non-public schools. And so our job in being brought in is to help tell the story from an objective, data-driven standpoint of what is impacting transportation that causes challenges. And so what we've done is taken the time to do a route analysis of runs of their time and capacity to determine what are the contributing factors that are hindering the ability for transportation to be more efficient. A few things that I want to note from a national level and even a local level before we really get into the recommendations. First, nationally, we are experiencing an unprecedented bus driver shortage that was exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic. Many people did not return after the pandemic to the workforce, and that is very much so a factor in school bus driver positions as well as maintenance positions, mechanics, monitors as well. We're in very challenging economic times as far as the labor market, as well as the cost of goods and equipment, so vehicles, parts, supplies. That is causing a rise of a transportation cost overall. And then specific to this area, within the course of the last 10 years, you've seen a significant increase in your population. And while that population, in many ways, may not seem to have necessarily a direct effect on transportation operations, it does. It increases your student enrollment for population. It increases the amount of people that are living in the area, thus traveling to and from work all at the same time, increasing the amount of traffic that's happening in and around the area. And so that impact has had a direct correlation to transportation operations. As far as the district is concerned, over the course of the last 5 years, it has been a growing department, but your transportation department, in comparison to other operations of its size, is significantly understaffed. With regards to your maintenance positions, you're a minimum of 3 mechanics short, not just for servicing your Riverhead fleet, but due to the shared services arrangement that you are currently engaged in to provide maintenance and support for other districts. Outside of that, you were 2 dedicated routers short. Ms. Linda Jean, who you met earlier, has been wearing multiple hats in both routing, providing dispatch services, and while the district recently hired a routing position, a part-time router, that individual is currently driving a bus every day. Outside of your routing positions that you need, you're also short in terms of a PM dispatcher. For most operations this size, we would recommend 1 a.m. and 1 p.m. dispatcher. Ms. Linda Jean has been pretty much covering all of those responsibilities with staff in the PM helping covering PM dispatch responsibilities. That's a very important role within the operation to be able to communicate directly with bus drivers during peak operation times from a safety and communication perspective. And then as well as a field trip coordinator, someone who's a designated point of contact to evaluate and coordinate all of the extracurricular trips and activities that are taking place. 2 other things that are important to note with regards to some of the challenges specific to the last 5 years are just the increase in the number of enrichment programs that transportation is providing service for, which is fantastic. Transportation wants to be able to provide service. However, that does put a strain on the resources depending on when those trips are being requested. And if you don't have the resources available, it makes it very difficult to be able to provide those services. Additionally, ahead of this school year, last December, the district was subject to a data breach, which directly impacted transportation. It wasn't until May of 2022 that transportation was able to recover some of the data that it lost. However, they were not able to recover all. And so they were forced to take paper-based routes, do as best they could to get that information into a brand new routing software ahead of this school year. And so all of that is to say that there are some challenges. There are some things that have significantly impacted your transportation operation. But at the end of the day, there are also some constraints that will require discussions and conversations among the district school leaders, the non-public school leaders, in order to move forward towards achieving whatever it is that the district would like to achieve with its transportation services. So as a summary, before I get to the next steps and recommendations, given the current constraints from our route efficiency study, given the current constraints, transportation is operating nearly as efficient as it can given the constraints. Without considerations around aligning school bell times of public and non-public schools, looking at your staffing of your transportation department, looking at your district policies as well as state policies regarding eligibility for transportation. Transportation is currently very severely limited in its ability to become more efficient. There are parameters that are limiting the ability to modify route structures in current state. And so part of the recommendation is for the district to begin conversations with stakeholders, all stakeholders, to start evaluating bell times, policies, and parameters that dictate how students are provided transportation within the district. One specific slide I'd like to call everybody's attention to help paint the picture more clearly. This is a representation of the current number of bell times that the transportation department must navigate in order to provide students transportation. In a normal 3-tier system, meaning that you have, for example, with Riverhead, high school, middle school, and then elementary school starting first, you would see 3 lines. What you see here are 25 different lines, which means that there are 25 different bell times that transportation has to coordinate around for both Riverhead and non-Riverhead schools in order to get all students that require transportation to school safely and on time. This is incredibly challenging because the lengths of day vary for each school, and your ability to be efficient in transportation in terms of how many buses are required to operate the system is dependent upon how many times you can fill and reuse the same buses. In a system like this where you have so many different bell times that are not appropriately staggered with enough time between tiers, it increases the number of buses that are required to operate the system and limits your ability to fill and reuse those buses. You're also covering 100 square miles, and so some of those schools that are in programs that are not within the Riverhead central area are also requiring more time to operate. So they may have space on the bus to operate and add more students, but they do not have time to be able to navigate to the next location on time. Specific to Riverhead schools alone, so this is pulling out all of your non-public schools. Riverhead schools have adequate spacing on the far left side of the graph. That's the AM start times. Have enough time essentially between your morning tiers, but that red circle indicates about the period between 2:30, 2:45 p.m. and 3:15 p.m., in which almost every Riverhead school is letting out, dismissing around the same time. That makes it extremely difficult to support 3:15 and 4 o'clock runs, extracurricular activities. You don't have enough space. You'll notice that the time between your first tier, 6:55 to 8:05, provides an hour and 10 minutes in the morning, where in the afternoon, you only have 34 minutes of time. Your average routes approximately are around 34 minutes in length. That's average. So if we only have 34 minutes of time and your route time is also the same, you can understand that we're not getting to campuses on time in the afternoon. Some of the questions that the district will need to ask itself and consider as you look at trying to prepare for a better school start next year is, what truly is the pain versus gain? There's a cost associated with the level of service that you want to provide, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to provide additional services for enrichment programs, for working to provide equitable service to public and non-public school students. But there have to be parameters and policies in place that allow for the safe and efficient provision of transportation. And one of the things that we've learned anecdotally and in looking at the routes from an analysis perspective is that there are district policies for eligibility that are not consistently being adhered to, which do limit the ability for routing to be done more efficiently. And so as we conclude, part of the conversation over the course of the next few months in preparation for next school year will need to be to have the conversations with stakeholders, both public and non-public school leaders, to determine what is possible with regards to bell times. Is there a way for us to reduce the total number of bell times that the transportation department is having to accommodate? Are there ways for us to better align public and non-public schools? Particularly with the elementaries, there are a stagger of 3 different start and end times for elementaries that do make it particularly challenging for those dismissal. Is there a way for us to bring those into alignment? We certainly want to make sure that we are taking into account what the curriculum instruction needs are. However, in order for transportation to best support curriculum instruction, there have to be the parameters that are in place that allow them to get to each of the campuses safely and on time. Having discussions with the employee union, I had a great opportunity to sit and speak with nearly every bus driver in a series of 4 meetings. You've got dedicated bus drivers and monitors who want to provide high levels of service for students. They don't want to feel as though they're failing the community. They don't want to feel as though they're rushing from one place to another to get to places on time. But they have to have some support from the district and from everyone collaborating together to devise a framework that allows us to best serve students, but that's also conducive to allowing transportation to operate safely and efficiently. Ensuring that your department is adequately staffed for transportation to provide the routing, field trip, maintenance support that's needed. So having conversations around staffing, reviewing your district policies and ensuring that you're adhering to the policies that do allow for more efficient provision of transportation services, review of traffic and density and making sure that we're taking into account the new levels of traffic in and around campuses, especially around peak operational time, and making sure that's taken into account in routing for next school year. And then more than anything, having these conversations early to allow the district to begin planning to design a routing network that truly is conducive to a higher level of success for provision of services for all students. I'll be happy to answer any questions anyways.
Thank you for your presentation. Question is, do we have to provide busing to charter and private schools, or can we make them provide their own transportation? And then what comes to the point when we can't afford to provide this transportation?
So and if I may, so we do take into account state law requirements and local policy. So New York state law does require the transportation of elementary students living more than 2 miles from school and secondary students living more than 3 miles. For specific to your provision for non-public school students, you're required to provide it to students who live up to 15 miles within the district to a non-public school. That is a requirement through Education Laws 3635.
So if it comes to a point we can't afford that, it's still tough? Yeah.
My understanding would be you cannot opt to not provide transportation. However, you should be working collaboratively with your school leaders to determine what's the most efficient manner to be able to provide it with the resources that you do have available to you, which is why having those conversations about the strains and constraints that the system is currently experiencing to determine is there a way to work collaboratively and be more flexible to ensure that all students are being provided the service that is required by state law.
Okay. Also, for extracurricular activities for the sporting events, we have been contracting out for those away games. Are we still in the process of doing that? And are we set to have enough buses for our spring sports, our away games?
We are currently looking at all options. We are working with the co-directors and also a company I cannot name at this point. They haven't made any promise if they can provide all the services that we need for after-school program this winter and spring. But we are doing the best we can to look at hiring bus drivers and also other alternatives to be able to provide all the services after school program this winter. But right now, currently, we do not have enough drivers to provide all the services for after school program this spring.
So what are you telling these athletes and parents that games are just going to be canceled because we don't have buses?
No, we'll have more information by the next board meeting. So the board could consider having a possible contractor to help us provide all the services. So the goal right now is to provide all services, but we are working through the logistics and also looking at possible vendors to help us provide the services this coming winter and spring.
Okay, back to the study. We knew we needed more drivers. We knew we needed more mechanics. What did your company do to let us improve under our current conditions?
So that's what I'm sharing with you. Under current conditions, unless you were able to, one, specifically, without talking about changes to bell times, you need to get back to adhering to some of your district policies with regards to how routes are structured. Currently, there is not consistent adherence to your walk-to-stop policies, which state how far a student can walk to different stop locations. The bus stop placement parameters are also sometimes being overridden to place bus stops at locations that are not efficient. And which are undermining transportation's ability to be able to construct routes in an efficient manner. And so if we're talking about, are there opportunities to become more efficient in current state? The answer is that it is extremely limited. At max, we could probably look at 3 to 5 routes where there may be time and capacity to consolidate, but you are not talking about a true gain in efficiency, and that is because the system is so constrained. So what our study has yielded and revealed is that without the ability first to adhere to what Riverhead's policies are for transportation in terms of walk to stop. Another example is you have walk zones that say, for instance, elementary students can walk to school that they're not eligible for transportation living less than half a mile from campus. We have areas in which that has currently been overridden, and students who live right across the street from a school are being picked up. Over time, these policies seem to have gotten to a state where they are less adhered to, which again creates less opportunity to become efficient. And so without adhering first to district policy, also looking at what you can control, your own bell times. The elementary stagger in your bell times in the afternoon causes significant challenges. I'm not privy to why there are 3 different start and end times for your elementaries, but trying to align those to where you had more of a stagger similar to what you have in the morning between your start and end times would provide greater alleviation for some of the routes that are currently running in the afternoon. But at the end of the day, from what we see within the study, you have very limited opportunities in current state to become more efficient unless you go back to a redesign of your routing network, which adheres to district policies and that has conversations with stakeholders regarding aligning bell times.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
One item that I would like to share, which I'm not sure is, has been brought up, is that Riverhead is geographically the largest district on Long Island. So there are a tremendous amount of constraints that the Transportation Department does have in trying to deal with the amount of land that needs to be covered and also with the increased traffic on the east end as well.
Absolutely.
Great. Thank you so much. We appreciate the information that you shared this evening. Just a few other quick items before I wrap up my portion of my report. I wanted to share that 24 students in grades 5 through 12 have been accepted to the Suffolk County Music Educators Association All County Ensembles. These students were accepted based on their NISMA scores from the spring of last year and will attend rehearsals and perform in March. We've had high school students participate in the East End Arts Martin Luther King Jr. Portrait Project. This annual project engages local high school art students to unleash their individual creativity as they produce a large portrait mosaic by artistically creating a 12 by 12 panels using mainly acrylic paints. The panels then come together to create an image of Martin Luther King Jr. and other civil rights leaders. This year, the Riverhead students painted a portrait of Ella Fitzgerald. I had the opportunity of going over to Phillips Avenue before the holiday break and meeting with the PTO president and with Santa as we gave out gifts to each class at Phillips Avenue, so that was a joy. And I also attended the Riverhead High School Winter Concert in the Pulaski Street Intermediate School Winter Concert after our meeting. And the last thing I wanted to share was I'm very proud of our students who are participating in a virtual competition regarding creating projects in their business class. So I have the Hydrolite business card that I received from the students, and I was very proud of their presentation of the work and wish them the best of luck.
Thank you, Dr. Tornatore. Okay, we're going to move on now to consent agenda. Could I have a motion? Thank you, Colleen. Could I have a second? Thank you, Virginia.
Lori, before we go, I'd like to pull out number 14 on the civil service.
Okay. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a vote on the consent agenda minus the letter number 14, and then we're going to vote number 14, okay? So we got a motion, we got a second. All in favor? Without 14. Motion passes. Okay, consent agenda number 14. Could I have a motion? Thank you, Mr. Dora. Can I have a second? Thank you, Virginia. Any questions? Let's see. Go ahead.
I just think this position can be kept under the treasurer the way it has been.
Thank you. Any other questions? All in favor? No? Did you get that, Lisa? Okay, we're going to move over to new business. I'm going to amend the agenda, new business. I'd like to request a motion to amend the agenda by adding resolutions. We're going to add letter I, resolution to authorize litigation. Resolution result. I got to read it first. I don't have to read it? I got to read it? You want to do it? Go ahead. I'm going to have Ashley take care of it.
Okay, so it's a motion to amend the new business portion of the agenda to add the following resolutions. Item I, resolution to authorize litigation. Resolved, the Board of Education hereby authorizes the law firm of Guercio & Guercio, LLP, to commence legal action against the parties identified on confidential Schedule A with respect to payments in lieu of taxes. And then to add new business, item J, resolution to approve agreement. Resolved, the Board of Education hereby approves the agreement with the employee identified during executive session and authorizes the president and or vice president of the board to execute the written agreement. So it'd be a request motion on the resolution to amend the agenda.
A motion to amend. Thank you, Matt. Second, Virginia. All in favor? Motion passes.
Be voted under your new business the way you normally would.
Okay, so we're going to move on to letter A, approval of board goals. Could I have a motion? Thank you. Therese, can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Matt. Questions, cares, concerns? Yes, Mr. Doyle.
I would just like to recommend to the board that, I guess, this time next year, that we review these goals that we accepted and see if we met them.
Thank you. All in favor? Motion passes. Letter B, approval of 2023-2024 budget goals. Can I have a motion? Thank you, Colin. Can I have a second? Thank you, Virginia. Any questions, cares, concerns? No? All in favor? Motion passes. Letter C, approval of memorandums of agreement. Can I have a motion? Thank you, Therese. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Colin. Any questions? All in favor? Motion's passed. Letter D, appointments. Can I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Thank you, Matt. Can I have a second? Thank you, Colin. Questions? Not seeing any. All in favor? Motion passes. Oh. And one no. Letter E, award a contract to Grade A Petroleum for the supply of oils, lubricants, and fluids to the district. Can I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Thank you, Matt. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Chris. Any questions, cares, concerns? Not seeing any. All in favor? Motion passes. Letter F, approval of first reading of revised board policies. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Colin. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Chris. Any questions? Not seeing any. All in favor? Motion passes. Letter G, approval of field trips.
Motion.
Thank you, Matt. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Colin. Questions? Not seeing any. All in favor? Motion passes. Letter H, acceptance of donations. This is donation of a 30 by 48 greenhouse, a hoop house, from Carl Gabelson of Gabelson Farms. Thank you, Mr. Gabelson. Can we have a motion, please?
Motion.
Thank you, Chris. Second. Thank you, Virginia. Any questions?
No, thank you.
All in favor? Motion passes. Letter I, Letter I is resolution to authorize litigation. Could I have a motion?
Motion.
Thank you. Okay, Chris, can I have a second? Okay, Matt. Any questions? Not hearing any. All in favor? Motion passes. And we're going to go to letter J, resolution to approve agreement. Can I have a motion? Thank you, Therese. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Matt. Any questions? Not seeing any. All in favor? One abstention. So we've got opportunity for board members. We have committee reports. We'll start with Colin.
Right, so on December 20th, the policy committee met with myself, Mr. Connolly, Ms. Downs, and Dr. Galati, as well as Mr. Paul Caputo as a guest, the technology consultant for the district. Many policies were reviewed, in particular policies involving the internet, which were sent to Mr. Caputo to make his own recommendations for upgrades. And he shared the following recommendations based on NISBA recommendations. For policy 4526, computer use and instruction, and 4526-R, computer use and instruction regulation, this BOE policy was last updated in 2005. It's been completely revised as it did not adhere to current New York State standards. The following upgrades to the policy were addressed: prohibited use, access as a privilege, sharing of personal ID, and education law 2D compliance. The regulation has been rewritten with emphasis added to Part 14, using any methods or means to bypass the district's internet filtering system, including but not limited to use of a virtual private network or VPN. Part 16, using district technology for personal financial gain. Section C, personal devices connecting to the guest network. Section D, district issued devices. Section E, internet safety. Section F, data storage. Section G, security incidents. Section H, damage, and Part 3 for violations. For policy 4526.1, current regulation meets current standards, being last revised in 2017. Policy was adopted in 2012 and needs to be revised to adhere to the changes that were made in 2017. The regulation was revised, but not the policy. So the regulation 4526.1-R, Internet Safety Regulation, was found to be keeping in with the mission and vision of the district and doesn't warrant any modifications. For policy 8630, computer resources and data management, and the accompanying regulation, it was determined that the policy was keeping in the mission and vision of the district and doesn't warrant any modifications. The regulation has been revised to incorporate components of Educational Law 2D and the distinct role of the Director of Technology. In addition, provisions have been outlined to develop guidelines for leased devices for students to support learning. For policies 8635, information security breach and notification, 8635-R, information security breach and notification regulation, and 8635-E, the Parents' Bill of Rights for student data privacy and security. All three were keeping in with the mission and did not need to be updated at the time. For personal device policy, the policy was addressed in the revised acceptable use policy, which has brought it up to our current vision. For policy 5150 for student registration, school admissions, that one was fine, didn't need to be updated. Under grading, policy 4710, grading systems, it's recommendation of the policy committee to make the following change. Under processing, changing student grade, change the last sentence to read, specific for secondary schools, grade changes will be made/considered within a 2-week period upon the conclusion of the quarter or elementary trimester. Special circumstances as per the discretion of the principal may apply. For policy 5100, student attendance, Policy 5405, student wellness, and Policy 1510, public sales on school property. Those were all found to be keeping in with the mission and vision of the district and did not warrant any change. And finally, under student health services, Policy 5420, student health services, and Policy 5420-R, student health services regulation, is the recommendation to make the following change to include upon entering pre-kindergarten in order to, based on actually having pre-K now. And that was our December 20th meeting.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Healy?
I just want to commend the policy committee because you guys have been working very hard. It's like every month we're getting different policies. So thank you. We met December 21st. Present was Dr. Essay, myself, Mr. Palmer, Robert Hines, Leslie Moore, Colette Firkt, Micah Brassfield, Director of Advisory Services in the Transport Group, Tom Cartwright, the Vice President of Munistat Services, Inc., and Noah Nadelson, Chief Executive Officer, Munistat Services, Inc., and absent was Dr. Tornatori and Chris Storer could not make it. For transportation efficiency, the audit committee discussed the status of the efficiency of the operations in transportation with the transportation expert. The audit committee discussed the IT operations and administration of IT, including instructional support, student information management, budget, security, and staffing. A network administrator is included in the 5-year technology plan to ensure the district has an IT professional who is making sure the computer network of the district are secure and working efficiently on a daily basis. The Assistant Superintendent for Business and Fiscal Advisors discussed the status of the debt schedule and debt management. The district has to review its debt management plan and strategy every year to control increasing costs of interest and fees. The district cash is low in December 2022 and January 2023 because taxes and state aid have to be collected from January to June 2023. The district has to create a training program for students and staff and comply with the regulations of the Commissioner of Education to have the board approve all clubs and stipends and establish strong internal controls and appoint trained officers to ensure these controls are communicated, understood, and followed. And that had to do with the extra classroom activities, oversight, and administration. The audit committee must meet in January to discuss the 2021-2022 external audit with the auditor and to make a recommendation to the board before the vote on the audited financial reports. For Employee Benefits Administration, the district hired a broker to ensure the district is getting the best prices and complying with laws such as the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act of 1996, that's your HIPAA, and Medicare and Medicaid requirements. The district also has to create procedures to bill, collect, and monitor the financial contributions from retirees for medical insurance. The audited treasurer's reports have to be delayed for June all the way into December until the financial records are audited and completed in accordance with NYSED requirements. The audit committee is scheduled to have monthly and quarterly meetings. The budget development calendar will also be followed. The audit committee is arranging meetings every month through December and following the 2023-2024 budget development calendar to establish objectives and targets, develop a detailed budget, compile financial analysis, and make recommendations. A purchasing manual and federal funds procedural manual were created to provide guidelines to office staff and administrators and to comply with state and federal government requirements. We are scheduled to meet with the policy committee and audit committee and with the board in January 2023 to review these documents and have them approved for submission to the state. Also, local governments and school districts can hold a public hearing to opt to grant a reduction on the amount of property taxes paid by qualifying senior citizens and disabled people. The law allows each county, city, town, village, or school district to set the maximum income limit at any figure between $3,000 and $50,000. I'm okay with it.
Thank you, Virginia. Matt?
Okay, for facilities, we met on January 4th. Present was Dr. Tornatore, Dr. Assay, Al Galina, Terry Cahoon, myself, Mr. Dorr, Rick Weston-some from H2M Architects, Mr. Rockham, and an engineer from Energia, Justin Benet, I believe his last name is. First, we discussed, the first thing was Mr. Rockham discussed a capital project for the fine arts. We discussed improvements for the auditoriums in a few of the buildings, high school art classrooms, high school music auxiliary space, the high school lighting booth and dressing rooms, middle school art classrooms, middle school orchestra and chorus rehearsal space, Pulaski Street Art Room, Pulaski Street Band and Orchestra classrooms, K4 music configuration. There's a lot of work that needs to be done, and I mean, we discussed it pretty much in detail. We plan on doing some tours for that. Also we discussed NYSERDA, it's a clean green schools, or clean green schools. We discussed energy proficient projects. We had a brief discussion on electric school buses, charging stations, which would be needed if we had the buses, and also talked about different solar projects at different locations, which more studies are going to be done on those topics. Also from H2M, the engineer, he went over the 5-year plan that BBS, the previous architect firm, had put together. They're researching that, and we're going to be doing some research on that as well. Buildings and grounds, a maintenance and prevention plan was created for the district office building. Contracts for restorations in observatory and the bell are in place. A security bond has been considered for energy performance projects. And like I said, we're going to be looking to set up some tours for the board and the committee as well. And that's basically that in a nutshell there.
Thank you, Matt. I just want to say before we move on, I want to thank everybody that's on these committees. These committees, this year in particular, this year, every single one of these committees that we just heard have met more times since September to now than they have met in previous years, the whole school year. Every single one of these, there's so many changes going on, and these board members here that are volunteering their time after hours to be part of these committees are really working hard. Our administrators that are running the committees are here also. There's so much going on here, and it's amazing. It's constant. Policy committee, we used to do 3, 4 at the most a school year. We've already did, 5? And it's not even, it's just January. Oh my God, the audit committee is unbelievable. I mean, they're constantly meeting, and even facilities. They got to go over, and not only do they have to go over everything that the previous architects, the new architects have to go over what they did, and by the time they get done, there's going to be more stuff added. So there's lots of work going on, and I'm very happy, and I want to thank you all for your time that you give for these committees. Other than that, we move on to opportunity.
Larry, I'm sorry, just 2 other important things I missed, I'm sorry. Security upgrade project is nearly also completed. And then, as you see, there's scaffolding around the observatory. So there's work that's been started on that, so sorry.
Yep. Our CFA? Wake up.
Well, thank you. The RCFA chooses to yield its time to Riverhead Administrators Association.
Good evening, distinguished board members. My name is Tom Payton, principal of Roanoke Avenue Elementary School, and also president of the Riverhead Administrators Association. And I'm also here with Mr. David Enos, principal of Riley Avenue Elementary School, vice president of the Riverhead Administrators Association. Our high school is our flagship of our district. As a matter of fact, David and I are proud parents of Riverhead High School students. We, as RA, are appreciative of the Board of Education for all the support you have given to the high school, and also thankful for the support given to the alternative school. As we approach budget season, we're respectfully asking you to consider adding an assistant principal position at Riverhead High School. We're asking for a number of reasons. Enrollment did decrease during the pandemic. However, as we approach post-pandemic times, enrollment has steadily increased at the high school. Currently, there are just under 2,000 students at the high school with 3 assistant principals. The 3 assistant principals for the amount of students is low compared to other high schools of similar size. For example, right next door at Eastport South Manor, they have about 1,700 students with 4 assistant principals. In a district where compared to a lot, Walt Whitman in South Huntington, which has around the same number of students as Riverhead, also has 4 assistant principals. An additional position will align with best practices in instructional leadership and building relationships. For example, if you assign an assistant principal to a particular grade level, that assistant can laser focus on the specific needs of the grade level and better support staff in meeting and reaching student goals and outcomes. This also allows for better collaboration amongst departments and helps build stronger relationships between teachers and administration. Additionally, having one assistant principal follow a particular cohort allows for better relationships with students. That administrator will get to know students on that grade level well to better support students academically as well as socially and emotionally. Such an important step during post-pandemic learning times. Thank you for your consideration for what we feel is a vital position. We feel this is such an important ask, and we greatly appreciate the RCFA for yielding their time to us, and we thank them for their support in this request. We know RA is next on the agenda with our opportunity, and we'd like to yield that to our friends in the RCFA and their president, Mr. Wallace. Thank you.
Thank you.
So in my 20 years as an educator and 10 years as a labor leader in this district, I cannot recall a time when the RCFA utilized their spot on the board agenda to advocate for an additional administrator. But tonight that will change. The association concurs with RA's assessment that an additional AP is sorely needed at the high school. Over the last 2 decades, our student enrollment has grown significantly. Our faculty has grown significantly, yet over that same amount of time, the administrators at the high school have remained static. During this time, we have seen the addition of AP support at every other building in the district except the high school. The roles and responsibilities of every facet of education has not only become more complex, but it's also become more time-consuming, especially coming out of this pandemic. The association feels strongly that the addition of another AP at the high school will not only benefit our students, my bargaining unit, it is also vital to increasing the operational efficiencies at the high school, and we wholeheartedly support the addition of this administrator to our staff. We just think it's sorely needed. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to move on to public comments. Anybody from the public like to come up and have questions?
Good evening, esteemed board members. This is not in relation to today's agenda, but something that...
You could move the microphone up.
This is not in relation to the agenda today, but in relation to NJRTC recently. My name is Kevin Kolakowski. I'm the unit's public affairs officer and the unit's color guard commander, as well as in the pledge up there. I'm here on this evening on behalf of Mr. Riley and on behalf of myself and 100 other cadets in the unit. Mr. Riley has been a security guard at the Riverhead District for many years and has in the past year become a very special person to the unit here at the Riverhead. We have graciously gained 2 new instructors to our program, but we lost a very key person, our friend, Mr. Riley. Not only did he give the unit plenty of morale, he was approachable and a great advisor to the unit. He carried many stories and experiences just as other naval science instructors. Recently, we were informed that he would be given the position of assistant teacher, but his past position of security guard will not be removed, allowing the district to remove him from his assistant position back to the role of security guard at any time needed. This is less than ideal. He has offered such a benefit to our unit, and his investment will only continue to grow to lead us to even higher return. As the board, you've already made an investment in this unit, and we ask you to continue to guide us with proper division, and with the aid of Mr. Riley and other respected instructors. Not only removing Mr. Riley at any point lower morale for the unit, it makes your job as the board more difficult. As a unit, we signed a petition to assist in our representation of support for Mr. Riley. This was presented during his past discussion with Principal O'Hara. We'd like to remind you of the success that the unit has brought to Riverhead and the prestige that has given to our district across the nation. Last year, the board itself had graciously granted the unit funds to travel nationally to San Diego, competing in a national academic championship. This year, Riverhead continues to promote that prestige, as they will soon be attending the qualifiers for nationals in the following weeks. With our instructors and Mr. Riley as an advisor, the unit is guaranteed to bring success and prosper throughout the future years. On behalf of the unit, myself, my commanding officer Charlotte Dow, and executive officer Pablo Chavez, we urge you to take into consideration and to once again review Mr. Riley's position. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just wanted to share with you, excuse me. Oh, yeah, hi. So first of all, I do want to thank you for sharing your thoughts. We actually had every intention of restoring Mr. Riley to that position because we do know the importance and what he brought to the table. So we were going to put a resolution on for the board to vote on. However, we did receive his notice that he was resigning from the district for another opportunity. So certainly we understand, and we would have loved to continue in working with him in that additional capacity with the NJROTC.
I understand. Thank you.
Anybody else? Ms. Lisa? Nobody? Anybody in the public? Not seeing anybody. Could I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Thank you, Matt. Second. Thank you, Colin. Questions? All in favor? We're adjourned. Have a nice evening, everybody. Safe trip on.
Longest notes I've ever made. It's usually a one-page.
Please help support the Riverhead Central School District YouTube channel by subscribing. If you are not already subscribed to this channel, please be sure to push that subscribe button and click the bell to receive notifications. Thank you.